One of the main attractions when going to California is to visit SeaWorld and maybe see a whale show or swim with the dolphins. Families across the world have gone to similar aquarium parks around the world to see these amazing creatures. It's been a very popular attraction for many years, but to what extent are we paying for this entertainment? I've always thought that it was fine for whales to put on shows and it was a good attraction for people to see. I figured people training them knew what they were doing and they knew the animals best. But I saw a news story about a trainer that had gotten killed by an orca whale. And then I read a news article in a magazine about the story, and it's apparently not an isolated event. There have been injuries, close calls, and even deaths that have occurred in handling these animals in captivity. There's a question of whether or not it's ethical to keep orca whales in captivity or if they belong just in the wild. I'm by no means supporting the captivity of whales. However, I don't want the whales already in captivity harmed. There needs to be some level of protective standard for these animals. The ones in the wild should be left alone, and captivity should be kept there to protect them, but they shouldn't be allowed to breed anymore. Orcas are among the most contaminated marine mammals in the world. Pollution and contamination make orcas more susceptible to disease and likely cause reproductive difficulties. Orcas are in a health risk even when kept in captivity. Environmentalists and animal rights activists protest to use these animals in this way. They say it's animal cruelty. If calves survive in captivity, they don't really have much to look forward to besides swimming in circles in barren concrete pools and doing circus tricks and dying early. 21 orcas died in U.S. SeaWorld facilities between 1986 and 2008, which is an average of nearly one death each year for 22 years. Their deaths were caused by severe trauma, intestinal gangrene, acute hemorrhagic pneumonia, pulmonary abscesses, chronic kidney disease, cardiovascular failure, septicemia, and influenza. None of these animals died of old age, though. The number of these creatures is decreasing according to groups such as PETA. Additionally, there's a question regarding the ability of female orcas to effectively reproduce in captivity. Orca handlers and trainers are regularly injured and often killed by the orcas. Training and experience of orca handlers vary widely throughout the world. This increases the chance of accidents in the orca's environments. Tillicum, the orca who attacked the trainer Dawn Brancho, ripping off her left arm, part of her scalp, crushing her ribs, breaking her bones throughout her body before drowning her, is still living in SeaWorld today. Despite knowing the extreme danger, the fact that he had killed dolphins twice before, SeaWorld refuses to free Tilly because he's a valuable breeder. Tillicum has already made 13 calves for SeaWorld. There's also a question if orcas could even survive if they were let into the wild after being in captivity for so long. Kiko, also known as the whale who played Free Willy, was released back into captivity. Was released back into the wild, and he died a few months later because he didn't know how to survive in the wild. He couldn't connect with a pod, which is what orcas travel in. Pods usually consist of 50 to 30 whales, although some pods combine to become groups of 100. Orcas also establish social hierarchies. So They have long-term personal relations with one another and can identify each other within their pods. Orcas are also very intelligent animals, who needs lots of stimulation to keep them from getting bored, which they can get when they are in the wild. Orcas tested for intelligence below our level, but above those of primates. They're smart yet rare species. Many find this reasoning for why they latch out at humans, because they're stuck in a comparatively smaller environment to the ocean. In conclusion, there are many things to think about when it comes to issues of orca whales in captivity. I am by no means for the captivity of whales. I do not want to see the whales in captivity harmed either. I believe the ones in the wild should be left alone, and the ones in captivity should be kept there to protect them, but they should not be able to breed.